Welcome to the brand called You. I'm Sandeep Tyagi, your host, and the brand we are talking to today is Manish Malhotra. Manish is the founder and CEO of Income Discovery, interesting and pioneering new company which has been building products to help people retire better. Welcome to the show, Manish.
Thank you, Sandeep. Pleasure to be here and appreciate you giving me the opportunity to share our story.
Great. Well, you have a fantastic pedigree. I see you graduated from IIT Kharagpur and went to XLRI Jamshedpur. Then you have worked for several prominent companies, including Citibank. How did the idea of Income Discovery come to you, and what does this company that you have set up, what does it do?
So the idea for Income Discovery came from my experience at Citigroup, where we were part of the wealth management, and we were involved in an internal initiative for retirement income. And I realized that the opportunity was massive, and there was an approach and a solution for that was missing because the industry was focused on growing wealth, not distributing out of your money efficiently, etc. So that's where the idea came at Citigroup. And I didn't answer you on kind of what we do, so let me add that too.
Yeah.
So the other part of what we do is Income Discovery is focused on getting everybody a personalized, tax-optimal paycheck in retirement, and using technology intelligence to get you the money out in such a way that you can have more to spend safely, more to pass on after taxes to your heirs as bequest. So 30% more spending for you safely, or 5 times higher after tax bequest is a core value proposition.
I knew making money was hard. I knew saving and growing money was hard, but what you're saying is spending money and withdrawing money is not easy either, and there can be a big difference. Did I hear it right? You said 30% difference and 5x difference. Tell us more. So how big a difference, let's say I have X amount of savings and I'm withdrawing 100,000 a year to, live my retirement at 4% formula, whatever is my formula for retirement that most people will talk about. Under this plan, how big a difference could it make?
So I'm actually quoting from one of the blogs directly or linked from a marketing website. The 4% rule that you mentioned has been based on history, and the forward-looking expectation of returns are not as good as it has been in the past. And it assumes that you don't tap your Social Security retirement benefit and pension in a certain way. You don't factor that in the analysis. Once you include optimizing Social Security, your pension settlement, allocation to a private annuity with a lifetime income guarantee, and targeting taking out money from your qualified, taxable, and Roth appropriately for somebody, an example of somebody around, let's say, even $1.3 million of wealth, wanting to spend $100,000, $105,000, but actually can't. They had safe income collectively with their Social Security, pension, etc., was $100,500. That's something safe, which has 90% opportunity of lasting into your mid-90s. And through the optimization of ADA, which is our AI engine separate brand that we have under the Income Discovery brand umbrella, we were able to raise the safe spending for that client to $130,800 in US terms. So that's roughly 30% increase in the amount of spending. And if they wanted to spend only 105, not really spend more, but give more to their heirs for legacy, their legacy could be increased from almost $240,000 on after-tax basis to $1.36 million. So just optimally sourcing the money can have a dramatic impact on outcome for you and for your heirs too.
So the legacy part, you mean the money left over after life expectancy goes up dramatically because of the way you are setting it up. Now, what are a few of the big areas that you see people missing out on? What are some of the big mistakes that you see people making that your software and advice can help them with? I think you touched on some of them, how to withdraw money, how to have an annuity, but if you could touch maybe top 3 silver bullets that you think everybody should be thinking about and your company helps them put them together, what would they be?
First, and the one that has most dramatic impact on your outcome is Social Security claiming strategy. People still don't defer Social Security claim to 70 there, which is the last rate they could defer to, which gives them much higher benefits. They hold off and they pay a lot of money on it on taxes, etc. So you defer that, and that allows you the opportunity to have a lot of low taxable income, because when you don't have a salary, your taxable income effectively is zero. If you have some interest in your taxable accounts, that would be part of your taxable income, etc. So then you can control taking the money out. That goes on to the second level, is you can take some money out of your qualified accounts at zero taxes or very low taxes, 10, 12, 14% certain tax targeting of money from your qualified accounts like 401k and IRA. So that's the second level, because you can get it out. Third level is using lifetime income guarantee from annuities. Everybody thinks, you know what, I'm not going to live up to 95. I'm not going to, but you don't know how long you live if you're healthy enough. So using lifetime income guarantee and efficiency of actuarial risk pooling by an insurance firm, that adds a big impetus to how much you can spend safely, and also how much heirs you can give out in heirs, because you are using the actuarial risk pooling benefits in the later half of your life, and you don't use your money much. You get paid from the pool there. And the fourth one is also capital gain management strategies for money that you have in a taxable account. Again, when you're in retirement, you have great opportunities to target tax-free capital gain, which when you're working, even if you're making $100,000, that opportunity doesn't really exist. Because in retirement, since you don't have a salary, you can carefully orchestrate the withdrawals from your qualified account, which are tax deferred, like 401k and IRAs, and taxable account targeting some tax-free capital gain there. All of those levels, these 4 levels, can create a substantial output, substantial impact on the outcome in retirement for you.
Let's just dig deeper into the first one. A lot of people probably have the same confusion or thought I have, that the Social Security benefit is a fixed amount. So if you start taking it at a later age, then yes, the quantum per month may look larger, but the total amount on life expectancy is fixed. So if you start taking it early, it's a smaller amount. If you start taking it later, it's a larger amount. But is that not the case?
That is the case. But when you do a plan for yourself, unless you have a written notice from a doctor with a precise age that you're going to die, you have to plan for more than the average life expectancy, right? If you're planning with your average life expectancy, that means there's a half a chance, 50% chance that you will die on that age, 50% chance that you will live longer. So you don't want to plan for half your life and rest half of your life. If you live longer, you don't have any money, right? So that's where the whole actuarial risk pooling comes. So Social Security is also an actuarial system where the system will keep on paying you lifelong. So you get the benefits when you live longer. Since you don't know how long you will live, from a prudent planning perspective, you got a plan that you will live, maybe outlive about 80-90% of your peers.
Right.
That's what you base your safe amount of spending on. And if you use the actuarial guarantees from Social Security or a private annuity, that allows you to spend more safely and also increase the amount of bequests. Because if you don't have these guarantees at a lesser amount, that means you need more of your money, your post 84, 85, you're going to have to go to your portfolio. Whereas if you have these actuarial guarantees brought in, you don't need to dig into your portfolio. And that goes as a higher bequest to your heirs.
Okay.
It's an insurance. Social Security is also an insurance at the end of the day.
Sure, understood. Okay, well, the other part that I took away from your four-pointer plan was the annuity. Again, many people have the impression that it is very high fees. Of course, it's in pooled plan, so the risk is mitigated by pooling. But of course, there's a cost to it. You know, the fees that the financial institution is charging to give you that insurance and to administer that plan is something that you're paying off. Is it a good thing for everyone to do, or is it a good thing after a certain age? When does your software recommend or analysis recommend that people look at lifetime income in annuities?
Yeah. So first on fees, when we do the analysis within our software, we factor all the fees of a product, right? So if you have an annuity for a lifetime income guarantee, all its fees are factored in. The payout that is coming is net of fees, etc. And similarly, even if on your investment, you may have an advisory fees if you use an advisor, that fees is also factored in. So we factor in all the fees and we factor in all the taxes, federal and state. So we are looking at the outcome for you on an after-tax, post-fee basis, and that is 30% higher on spending and 5 times higher in legacy. So that's the first part of your fee question. Second, on what age may be appropriate for you to annuitize or take a lifetime income guarantee depends upon, it's totally personal, depends on, and this is where kind of we are in business, there is no rule of thumb. Based upon your situation, your spouse, what is the age gap between both of you? See, if your spouse is 10 years younger than you, and she's a female, let's say in your case, or it's the other way around, what's the age gap? Men and women have different life expectancy. Women have longer life expectancy. If the spouse is 10 years, 15 years younger, and is a woman, the younger the woman, she's going to live much longer. That situation, when is one person retiring, when the other one is retiring? Do you have access to pension? What did you decide to do with your Social Security? Will all impact how much of lifetime income guarantee will you have, will be optimal for you. In some situations, it could be, it is not. But more often than not, it would be an optimal solution first. And the age you invoke the lifetime income guarantee also depends on those factors, right? The spousal age gap.
Yeah.
If it's a single person trying to do it, yes, they don't have to include that. But even in there, they're based on how much money they have, they could maybe start the lifetime income guarantee at 65 or 70, or even push it to 75, etc. So that's what our AI engine ADA does, takes the client situation, where the money is, and figure out a personalized strategy across all these elements with the sole objective of maximizing your safe spending and maximizing your bequest.
Now, this is available to US investors only, is that right?
It is currently available through institutions which have financial professionals helping clients. They may have a digital engagement, like one of our clients does have a digital engagement where our ADA or AI engine powers it, but it is not offered directly from Income Discovery today for any retail investor. We are working on making it available through the retirement plans, like 401k, 403b, and 457. Those are the retirement plans in the US for at least the global audience. And that would put the power in the hand of a retirement plan participant, as they call it, individual investor, where they will be able to do it on their own.
Okay.
It is, we are in live there with at least with one of the 403b retirement plan players, not under our brand though, it's all white labeled.
Okay, understood. Well, changing gears, let's talk about your personal journey. Where were you born? What were some of your early influences in your childhood?
So I was born in the state of Haryana in India, in a small town called Gohana in the mid-70s. It used to be maybe a midway between a town or a village. My dad was in a mandated rural posting as part of the public sector banks at that time for a year, and this who moved out to another smaller town in Haryana. This is all within, I would say, 100 to 100-mile radius of Delhi, but I never stayed in Delhi. And my last smaller town was Meerut for about a year, which is another in that radius of Delhi. And then when I was moving into grade 8, he moved to Calcutta, which is now Kolkata. At this point, I haven't gotten used to the new name yet. So that's where I did my high school, 8th grade to the 12th grade. And that is where I was exposed even to the opportunity of kind of what's available, exposed to the big city. Calcutta has been very unique, I suppose, even compared to Delhi or Bombay or other places, and it has a very active inter-school cultural and other engagements and festivals, etc. Very, very active space. So there was a lot of good exposure, and my exposure even into my career direction came from there too.
What were some of the memorable role models or advice that you got as a young person that has shaped you?
Both, you mean kind of from a school, college, or professional also?
It could be your parent, it could be a teacher, it could be a person you met. Who shaped your journey?
So our, let's say, pre-college, my journey was mainly shaped by my cohort in high school. I wasn't aware of, as you will probably get into, right? Let's say IIT, an engineering school, staying in small towns, I wasn't even aware of their existence. My dad was not an engineer, so we didn't have engineers in our family. So I got exposed to the awareness of engineering, awareness of IITs, and the whole process with my cohort in high school. And we prepared together, etc., for it. So that was a big influence. Some of my schoolmates went on to become like professors at big computer science colleges here, right, who've done. There were a big group from us which all got together. So that was the first one. In college, again, like the cohort at IIT also influenced a lot of our direction in what we did. And similarly, during MBA, the cohort, after I graduated, I didn't really have, I wasn't privileged enough to have good counsel or advice from people much above my cohort age group, up until professional level, where, especially when I came to the US, a lot of people took on mentorship while I was working. My ex-manager, Ramna Bandaru, who's been an investor in our firm, early investor, learned a lot of mentorship from him and some of the people who had mentored him. And subsequently also, one of the gentlemen whom you have interviewed, Rakesh Kaul, who's also an investor in our firm, he was one of the mentors from our Pan IIT network. And we had another great gentleman from our Pan IIT mentorship program called Sunil Kumar, that you may be aware of, who's been a great executive, successful executive running multiple private chemical firms. Both of them have had profound mentorship influence on me. Even creation and formation of Income Discovery is what I ran by Sunil through the mentorship program, and he reinforced it. So that they have been the primary influences, and Rakesh has been heavily involved in our journey in the last 12 years.
Yeah. That's a long time. What advice would you give Manish of 12 years ago when you were setting up the firm? What do you wish you knew at that time?
In terms of when I started that, I thought I knows the whole industry domain the problem that I was solving very well. Having come out of Citigroup Global Wealth Management business, I thought I knew everything. But I still didn't know a lot in terms of financial products, like even annuities, etc., their taxation. We did a lot of things that we did initially were wrong, and our institutions corrected us, and we made changes. I just didn't know many angles, even the tax targeted qualified dispersal that I talked about, right, where you target certain tax rate for your qualified money. We were, I would say, taught all of this by even one of our prospect institution, which is still not a client. And we have really smart people on our side, but we just didn't know enough about our domain. We thought we knew, but our prospect and our institutional clients, which have a wealth of knowledge from tax attorneys to estate planning attorneys to investment professionals, that just taught us what we were lacking. And
But isn't that kind of always the journey? It's impossible to know everything. So every entrepreneurial journey, you kind of would discover something as you go along. So is that really something you could avoid?
I would say no. I'm with you, right? As you've been an entrepreneur yourself, right? That you will realize that you don't know a lot. But we had a belief that we knew this one inside out. And we just were surprised that there is still a lot that we needed to learn. And then, of course, that was just a domain, right? Then the other angle of right, entrepreneurship is, right, it's how do you navigate the whole big enterprise? How do you build it? The money raise. Now we know it's raising money for a startup is very hard. The risks of survival, survival risk, etc., all of that in place. So it's there's a lot that you learn around it, navigate around it. A lot of stuff, and trying to navigate. You continue to keep on navigating around from one level to the other. We're fortunate enough that we are at a good spot, but we would like to be even better than where we are. So there's still an ongoing journey on that angle.
How do you invest your money?
Prior to forming the income discovery?
Just personal, your personal money with your spouse. What does your financial plan look like? Yeah,
I would say my financial plan pre-setting up of income discovery and post-income discovery are very different. So setting up 2010, we were investing our money, and I had a very active role that I would spend weekends selecting particular funds, mutual funds, etc., that I would narrow down, invest money. I would maintain a worksheet to try to rebalance, etc. At that time, the robo-advisory programs, per se, where you could get exposure to 20 different asset classes at a low fee through ETF structure, wasn't there. All these robo-advisors were really getting formed around 2008 or 9 is when they started. So you didn't have access to, so I was anyway actively involved. I would manage those funds through my worksheet. And when I started income discovery, since I wouldn't have the time to do it, I brought in a professional financial advisor to take over the portfolio, and so that I could focus on the firm. Post-income discovery, a lot of my liquid investment has actually gone into income discovery all throughout the years. So at this time, and since it's a private investment, it's on an equity exposure and a significant part of my net worth. My investment of other liquid assets now is completely different. So prior to income discovery, I was pretty much all equity, looking at growth. But once we set it up and my investment moved from public equity exposure to a private exposure income discovery, my private investment is all very low risk fixed income. At this point, I'm looking at my entire portfolio because my private liquid money I can't take the significant equity risk because I have a much larger exposure here in the fund. Got it. So that's what it is right now. I just buy direct treasuries and etc. On one of the retail brokerage.
Understood. This next section are quick questions. Whatever comes to your mind, that's the right answer. Don't have to think. Who's the best investor ever?
Across all, and not an operator, right? A pure investor. Investor.
Somebody who allocated capital well.
Yep. Okay. So I know there is definitely there's definitely a big aura around even Warren Buffett in general that has kind of grown over time, significant amount of compounded growth, etc. I mean, there have been many sound decisions by him. I have read and heard a lot of other investors along the way who've done experiment. The ones beyond what is publicly known, the investors from a professional circuit, which are not available into retail environment, an organization that I've had a lot of respect for as GMO, based out of Boston. Graham I think so Graham is one of the, I believe that, but they only serve big institutions.
Right.
So there's a lot of investment commentary by them, by GMO, that I read, and I've obviously read a lot more, but they have pretty sound decisions on allocating capital globally, recognizing bubbles and staying away, and how do you do an asset allocation with changing valuation levels. So GMO is what I would say from a professional multi-asset class allocation has been fabulous. And I would say all the large insurance firms, which is underappreciated because their portfolios are private. Some of our, big insurance firms like TIAA, which is on the 403B retirement plans, Northwestern Mutual, Mass Mutual, New York Life, they have giant portfolios, hundreds of billions of dollars, like even where they're investing with certain cash flow expectation of liability that they need to serve.
Sure.
In private real estate and other private investment. They
Manish,
have
I'm going to move on because just Warren Buffett and GMO, that's good. Best entrepreneur ever.
Again, here, some of the big names is what people would think of, and in terms of what they have done. But there are some people who have been under that cloud. They may not be known as publicly. There is somebody whom you might know, and I've had a personal interaction with him called Thomas Kurian. I don't know if you know him well enough or not. He's currently running Google Cloud.
Yeah, he was in Oracle earlier.
He was head of Oracle, and he's, I believe, a gold medalist from IIT Madras, if I'm not wrong. And even at Oracle, he ran the Oracle App Server, etc. He's worked within the bigger enterprises, but he's had a very entrepreneurial spirit in that he's built the businesses within the umbrella, but with a different passion, and been very aggressive in coding business. I was at Citigroup when he was trying to get his Oracle app servers and other Oracle applications get adopted at Citi, and we were testing them, etc. He's pulled in within the umbrella of bigger enterprises a lot of entrepreneurial. I want to stay away from some of the big names because people
that's good.
fancy there's more, where people may not know and appreciate some of these lesser known names who've been very effective.
What is one achievement that you feel really proud of? It may not be a very big one. Of course, you have lots of things to be proud of, but something you personally feel, hey, I really did this.
What I would say, just surviving our firm without access to capital to get to a multi-million-dollar revenue stream without access to, it's been always a survival at stake. That's just been very hard, and navigating around that. Yeah. And that creates a lot of personal pressure, even from the family front, which you are aware of too, in general. Right. So that's been the hardest thing to deal with, professional pressure on survival, and corresponding personal pressure
Yeah.
that it creates.
Survival for small businesses, startups is not an easy thing. And you have done over a decade of it. So congratulations. Favorite cuisine? What kind of food do you like?
Of course, I do like Indian food as a staple. We do eat that at home most of the time. But when I'm trying to eat out, my favorite cuisine is Italian.
And last one, ideal holiday for you would be in Paris or in a beach on Hawaii?
I would take Hawaii for what I've heard. We haven't been there, but I have heard significantly good things about it in terms of mountains,
So away
beaches.
from big, ritzy, cultural and
exploring
fashion capital, but closer to nature, and that's good.
And
last
adventure.
question, brand Manish Malhotra, what is it in your own words?
So for me, it's having a full life where you have a lot of experience, a lot of emotion around the experience, all the way from personal with family, adventure, explaining, doing new things, tackling challenges, rich experience and emotional life. For me, is the fulfilling life. Is that what we're after? All after? Well, why I would yes.
Perfect, Manish. So live a full life and plan for the retirement well. That's your journey. Thank you for being on our show, and I'm sure a lot of people will take inspiration and plan better.
Thank you, Sandeep. Appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you for listening to the Brand Called You videocast and podcast, a platform that brings you knowledge, experience, and wisdom of hundreds of successful individuals from around the world. Do visit our website www.tbcy.in to watch and listen to the stories of many more individuals. You can also follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Just search for the Brand Called You.